Hi, it's needlepointers.com, and we would like to show you how to make this cute pumpkin mug rug. A fabric mug rug is a little quilt just the right size for a coffee cup or juice glass and a tasty treat. If you'd like to learn how to make this mug rug, keep watching this video or click on the link in the video or description section for a photo tutorial with step-by-step instructions on our website. To begin, let's start by constructing the pumpkin block. Cut the pieces of fabric according to the cutting instructions. Instead of me giving all the cutting measurements here for the pumpkin block, I thought it would be simpler to click on the link in the video or description section and go to our written pumpkin mug rug tutorial. Then come back to this video to see how to put the block together. Using your preferred marking tool, draw a diagonal line on the back of 4 of the 1.5 inch background fabrics from corner to corner. Position the 1.5 inch squares on the corner of the pumpkin. With right sides together, and they should be, this has to go this way, they should be positioned like that. Now we're going to go to the sewing machine and we're going to sew along the marked line. After you have all 4 corners sewed on, you're going to trim the excess fabric from 1/4 inch from the sewing line to the outside. You want it on the outside like this. And you'll do that on each of the corners. When you trim the corners, the block should look like this. Unfold the corners. Usually you would press it first, and then fold it out gently to the outside, creating the pumpkin shape. Now we're going to create the stem and the leaf strip. To make the leaf, we will be making a half square triangle section. With a marking tool, draw a diagonal line on the back of the lighter fabric from corner to corner. Then, with right sides together, align all the edges of the fabric. Then you will sew along your marked line. From the seam, cut 1/4 inch away. Then I'm going to go to the iron and I'm going to be pressing this so that it's open. To make the stem and leaf piece, line up your pieces. A background fabric 2 1/4 inch by 1.5 inch, the stem piece, the leaf piece, and another background fabric which is 1 1/4 inch by 1.5 inch. Now we're going to sew those all together in that order using a 1/4 inch seam. When you're finished sewing it together, press the seams. I pressed them all to one side, and the next step is we're going to sew this top stem and leaf part to the pumpkin. And again, line them up and use 1/4 inch seam allowance. The final step in making the block is to sew on the borders. Sew on 2 1.5 inch by 5.5 inch background fabric strips to each side of the pumpkin. Press the seams toward the background fabric. Then sew the 2 longer background fabric strips, the 1.5 inch by 6.5 inch strip, to the top and bottom of the pumpkin. Again, press the seams towards the background fabric. The pumpkin block is finished. Now that the pumpkin block is finished, we need a piece of fabric that coordinates with the pumpkin fabric, and you need that piece to be cut 6.5 inches by 7.5 inches. The next thing that I am going to do is I want to quilt this piece before I sew the 2 pieces together. So I have cut 2 pieces, a backing piece and a batting piece of fabric that are about 9.5 inches by 15 inches. I'm going to lay the fabric on the top of it, and I'm going to lay this piece next to it just to make sure there's enough room all the way around. And before I do anything, I want to quilt this piece to the backing and batting. And for me, it's going to be very easy. There are some lines here, and I'm going to just do a few quilting stitches along these lines to hold this piece down. Then what I'm going to do is, after that, just to give you a heads up, I will be putting this up against it, sewing the seam, opening it up, and then doing a little quilting on this piece. I finished quilting this piece, and we do have some videos on how to quilt, and I'll have some links in the description section. As I told you, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add the pumpkin piece on the top, aligning the edges, and then sew it with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. As you can see, okay, it's sewn together. Now I'm going to press this seam, and then I'm going to just do some quilting right along and outline the pumpkin. That'll hold this section down by quilting it that way. Okay, I finished quilting it. One thing I wanted to mention, that when you're quilting, please remember about the backing and what color thread you want to put in the bobbin. Okay, for instance, here I was going around in sort of an orange color, but I didn't want that orange color on the back, so in the bobbin I put the color that I wanted on the back of the mug rug. Another thing that I wanted to mention is I also then did a basting stitch all the way around the mug rug, about 1/8 of an inch from the end, just inside. Okay, now we will be cutting off the excess batting and backing. To cut the excess, it's very simple. Just line your ruler up with your rotary cutter, then cut along the side, and you do that on the entire mug rug. Okay, this is what it looks like so far. Now all we have to do is bind it. To finish the raw edges of the mug rug, you will use binding I recommend double fold binding, and it should be about 46 inches long. I cut mine 2.5 inches wide, folded in half. If you need a tutorial on how to do the binding, we will have a link below to our mug rug written tutorial page on our website, and there will be a link there on how to make double fold binding. Then you need to attach the binding to the mug rug, and you should use whatever method you prefer. Some methods are done completely with a sewing machine. Others you can do with a sewing machine and hand sew. Again, I'm not going to show you how to do that right here because we do have some tutorials, and those also will be on the page with our mug rug written tutorial on our website. As you can see, I've finished the pumpkin mug rug. The binding is now on. Let me turn it over so you can see the other side also. There you go. And I hope that you did enjoy this tutorial on how to make a pumpkin mug rug. Please like, share, and comment. Subscribe to our channel and follow us on Facebook, Pinterest, and Twitter. To follow us, just click the link in the description or in the video. Also, visit our website, needlepointers.com, because we have lots of other free quilt project tutorials and free quilt project information.